Okay, so last lesson what we did was we added the title down the sides of your artist page, and we also collected a load of collage bits and pieces. So things that could inspire us, but also to take away the white space from your artist sheet. If you remember, I said in the lesson, if you had a printer, you could also print some images of the artist's work. That would be really nice. I don't have a printer actually, so I'm just the same as you guys. I have, however, written up my 3 to 5 facts about the artist. So I'm ready to think about where I might stick those. I've also got my analysis, which is the first part of last lesson. So I've got content there, I've got form. And I did also try to think about sort of maybe putting it on quite nice pink paper, sort of maybe think about if you've got any leftover wrapping paper, that's quite nice to layer up. And to write onto. You could also write onto, this is actually the envelope of a birthday card that I had. So just being really resourceful. So do the same, think about what you can get out of your recycling bins, things like that. So these are ready to be glued down. I'm not going to glue them yet, because what I'm actually going to do is I also want to have a sample of the artist's work, and that's what I'm going to demonstrate to you in this video. So if I move that out of the way, I've got a crunchy bar here. I've got a normal HB pencil. I've got a rubber as well. So you'll need all 3 of these, and you'll also need some plain white paper. And what I've done is I've just positioned the crunchy bar. Now you don't have to use crunchy, you can use whatever you've got. It doesn't have to be a chocolate bar like this. It could be a Kit Kat or I don't know, like a Take a Break or anything like that in the cupboard. So just grab something that you can draw from. And the first thing to say is you want to start with a cuboid. So think about your understanding of cuboids from maths. So just in the same way, I've put my chocolate bar at a bit of an angle. I just always prefer to sort of try and draw off to the right hand side. I don't know why, I just do. So what I've done is I've just drawn this cuboid in here, and I've not done anything special with it. So just making sure that this line here is parallel to that line there, and that the ends of your cuboid are also parallel to one another. Then as you're going down these lines here, so your vertical lines, they run parallel to one another as well. And again, the lines that will join the bottom of your cuboid should run parallel to the top line above that. I've worked really faint, so holding towards the end of my pencil, and I'm not wearing any jewellery or watch or anything like that, so I'm not weighted my wrist in any way. And I've just softened these edges, so it's not like a really sharp edge. I've just put a bit of a curve on that edge there. And this is, just like when we were drawing from the natural forms, the most basic shape that I can start with. And then I'm going to get myself really nice and comfortable. And after I've secured the basic shape that I'm going to work with, then I can start to put some detail on. So things like, if I pull this back into shot slightly, so things like where the edge of the wrapper is, the angle that goes at. And once I've got that in, okay, then I'm going to put a few guidelines in and start to put the text in. So at this stage, I'm looking for the main parts of the shape. So I'm just going to speed that up slightly, but just watch and make sure you can see what I'm doing. And then I'll pause it and just show you where I've got up to. Okay, so I've added in the frill at the end of my wrappers. Again, I've kept it really light with the pencil so that I can make changes later if I want to, when I've started to add a little bit of tone. The other thing I need to look at now is text. So when you were doing your artist sheet last lesson, we were using some guidelines, and I'm just going to get you to do something very similar really this lesson. I've started just by putting a line roughly the direction that that text is going. So just like when we were drawing the shells, we need to think about, right, where does that text go? It doesn't matter where it goes on your chocolate bar. It might be printed straight, it might go across it a different way. Mine is going, if I pull this back into there, mine's going across at that angle. And if I also look, so this is where we're looking and we're thinking. So that C is right on the edge of that cuboid, so I need to make a note of that. So that's going to want to start approximately over here. And then that E is sort of almost disappearing off the edge. So I'm looking for landmarks that can help me to make sure that my text is in the right place. And also I need to look at the proportion of the text as well, so the size of that text. So that E is pretty mahoosive, so I'm going to have to, because it's actually all the way down here as well. And then the I is going to come in, and it comes around at an angle. So I'm not actually drawing the letter, I'm just drawing in just some guides to help me, really soft, really loose in the hand. That H, it's almost disappearing, so I'm back at the top of this cuboid and I'm in at a bit of an angle, and I'm looking at the shapes as well of the letters. That H comes in, it comes down, and then it's actually, that H is at a bit of an angle at the bottom and it's almost disappearing off the edge again, so just pop that in there. And then I've got another C happening, and that C comes in like that, and then I'm going to have an N. And the other thing you need to be mindful of is actually not running out of space, like I appear to be doing here. It's pretty tough. Let's put that U where that U is going to go, and then we're going to have an R. The R's a bit of a funny angle, so I'm just popping the beginnings of that R in there, and then I'm going to have my C. And see, I've moved from where I started saying it's going to be. I'm going to pop it about there. Okay, so I've not written the word crunchy. What I've got is some basic guidelines that I'm going to work back into. So put your text in approximately where you think it's going to go. Keep your rubber handy, and take your time with this, because it's features like this that make your work more realistic. And Sarah Graham's work is hyper realistic, so you do want to get these things right, and then we can start to add in some of the detail around that text. So I'm going to speed it up so you can see me doing mine, and then you can crack on. Okay, so I have added the basics of where my text is going to go, and what I'm now doing is I'm using the rubber to go back in. Now if you've pressed really lightly, you're going to find this job super easy. You're just going to go in and you're just going to clean up what you've just drawn. So just remove any lines that are not quite at the right angle. And then what I'm going to start to do is I'm then going to start to build the 3D effect. So on my crunchy I've got some red text, and then I've got like a purple, which makes the text look 3D, and then I've got some white. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to represent that as lines, and then I can start to build that background. So I'm going to just I'm just going to draw really, and let you guys watch. But those are the features that I'm looking for, and then when I've reached the end of that, I think then we'll have a look at adding maybe a hint of colour into this. Okay, so I've drawn all the text in, I've drawn the outline, I've also drawn in any detail on the packaging. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to draw a line all the way around my drawing, probably about, I don't know, 5mm away, and you'll see why in a second. So including any creases, because I'm going to be cutting this out and I'm going to glue this onto a bit more card which I pulled out of the recycling bin. So I'm going to glue it onto this, which will mean that it's nice and secure and robust. And then what I can do is I can look at how I'm going to present this on my artist sheet. So what I don't want to do is just cut on the lines that I've just been drawing. I want to have a little bit of white, almost like a mount around my sketch. So I've drawn that all the way around, and what I'm then going to do now is I'm now going to just cut that out and stick it on a piece of card.